Hey guys, okay, so I'm making this video to be of some assistance to those who are facing the same kind of problem that I'm having or had with my Air Hogs Heli repeat or any Air Hog helicopter for that matter. So I received this one as a birthday gift and I was very happy with its performance. It was very stable in the air, but this being the first time I've ever flown something of this sort, I wasn't very good at it and it crashed a dozen times or so, and I couldn't get any better because like after those many crashes it just stopped working. It wouldn't respond to the throttle on the controller. So normally I wouldn't bother opening it up. I just take it to the nearest service station, but for me in this case the nearest service station is supposedly about 10 hours or so from my place, so I thought I'd open it up and give it a look. Alright, so this is what the casing looks like. This is the Air Hogs Heli repair. Yeah. Right now there's nothing inside. I've taken off the circuitry. It's an empty case, right? Okay, so I've seen a couple of videos on the YouTube and I've noticed that there are many toy helicopters without the provision of a screw to screw together. It's glued together normally. I wonder why that is, but this particular version which I have has got screws to hold it together. Alright, so this is what the casing looks like, and this is what the inside of the Air Hog looks like. Okay, now obviously it wasn't a coincidence that the Air Hogs helicopter stopped working or responding after a dozen crashes, so I was pretty sure that the problem was with the helicopter. But just to check, I used the controller here, the standard Air Hogs controller, throttle, and direction controller, right? Okay, so I used this controller, and I also used the link that you get, which you can use with smartphones, and the helicopter wasn't responding to either of them. So I opened it up. The first thing you want to look for is I don't have a very sophisticated knowledge of the circuitry, but it's obvious that in a brand new helicopter, the solid state devices aren't going to fail on you because they don't have any moving parts and they're pretty well placed. So you have to look for the most vulnerable part of the circuitry. There are things that can get dislodged on impact, and it's pretty obvious when you take a look that that the wiring over here is the weakest link. It's very fragile, and there isn't much slack in many of the connections, so a slight tug at it can cause the wiring to come off. Now once I opened it, I realized that one of the wires was loose. Okay, let's see if you can take a closer look at it. Okay, if you can see, there's an orange wire at the tip here, and that one was loose. Okay, and when I took a closer look, I could see that it was a wire that was connected to something that looks like an RC receiver, right? And it makes complete sense because the helicopter wasn't responding to either of the controls, so it's obvious that the control wasn't reaching the board, right? So it's anyways, what I did is, it wasn't difficult to figure out where the wire went. I put it in place and I soldered it, and I gave it a go, right? Okay, I turned on the board and it's getting set, right? So there you have the green light. Now just so that you can be sure that you had the same problem of mine or not, I'll tell you the problems that I faced when it wasn't working. when it wasn't working, this light was on, right, which showed that the power was coming properly. Sorry, okay, here the power is coming properly, and my controller here, okay, this was also working properly. Now when I push the throttle, nothing happened over here. The plane wouldn't move, it wouldn't budge. Okay, so it makes sense, right? Because if no signal reaches the circuitry, it won't respond to the controls. Okay, so I solder the wire, everything's in place right now. Okay, let's give it a whirl. It's got a lot of power, and it's almost trying to take off on my hand. I'm trying my best to hold on to it. Anyway, so you see, okay, that the Air Hogs circuitry is working properly. So in case you ever face a problem, and if your service center is not close by, and if it's a relatively new piece as mine is, then it wouldn't hurt to take a look inside, because the problem may be very minor, and if it's on impact, you can be absolutely sure that it's one of the wires that have come off, or maybe something's got slightly dislodged, and it may be possibly something that you can fix. Alright, I hope this helps. Cheers.